Welcome to VisionPlusMac.com. This is Gulzar Shah with you, and you're watching Independent View. Our guest today is Mr. Roland Keplinger. He's the chief designer of Silhouette. Hello, Roland. Welcome to
Hello.
Mac.com. Tell us about
Yes.
your personal journey as a designer, and how has it been, and how did you find your way to Silhouette and become its chief designer?
Yeah. Well, since I was young, I loved to draw and to create and invent things, and this was more or less my starting point. And then I started to study industrial design. And after I finished, that's a long time ago, more or less. Then I've been in Germany working in a small design agency where I did all different kind of stuff. So meaning tiniest hearing aids to household appliances, consumer electronics, but also a big bunch also was already all kind of optical equipment. And there I had my first connections to optics. And after that, I was found, to be honest, by Silhouette. They asked if I want to join them, and Linz is my hometown, and I was able to come back to Linz and find a great team here to shape the future of Silhouette eyewear.
How would you define a creative designer vis-a-vis eyewear designer specifically? Is there a big difference between the two?
Actually, I mean, if you're a designer, you always love to create, and the most important thing is to stay really curious and go through the world with open eyes. So it's, for me, I think it's really essential to have a broad field of interests, because then you can merge one idea from one field to another and bring together and create new things. So I think that's essential, no matter if you're a normal product designer or if an eyewear designer. For an eyewear designer especially, I think it's very important that you understand all the production methods and the materials on the one hand, but on the other hand also have an understanding what trends are evolving and how what really looks good in the face, of course. Yeah.
Is it very limited, the when it comes to eyewear designs, like particularly because you don't have to play with colors or those kind of stuff. So
to be really honest, one thing that I was asked also when I started at Silhouette was, can you imagine, because in my former field I did a lot of different kind of stuff, can you imagine to do just eyewear? And for me it was quite clear. I was happy to see that we at Silhouette also have different brands, so you also can jump between the brands. So this is also great. But the more you go into details, you are surprised how many things you always can change and invent new. So it's definitely very limited. But on the other side, out of this limitation, it's great to build new things. Yeah. So it's really a challenge, yes.
You are not only doing Silhouette, you are doing any other, sunglasses?
Actually, we have Silhouette, of course. So Silhouette is our main brand, but we also have Neubau, for example, and our last baby is Evil Eye. So it's our sports brand. So we have really a broad field and also different target groups there, and that makes it also interesting. If I say, well, I have worked, 2 or 3 weeks exclusively on very minimalistic designs, then it's great to jump over to a sports brand and make there more sportive and play around more with surfaces, So I think that's a good thing, and you also
balance.
It's a good balance, and also it keeps up your mind fresh somehow.
So you have created many successful Silhouette collections. What is the process of creating a new successful collection?
Yeah, successful is always the most tricky thing about it. Maybe I tell you how the process in general is. Together with my team, we create around 400 prototypes each year for all the brands. And I would say a factor of 5 or even 10 when it comes to drawings and designs. And when we identify, we narrow it always down, of course, from these 400 prototypes, and around 15% come down in the actual collection. So it's a long wait that we start very broad and bring it down to the point again. So that's that's mainly the process. And we have, of course, we work with briefings from our product managers to see, okay, for which target group, which price range we want to develop classes. That's the one way. And the other way is that we also try in our team to keep kind of an open lab situation, so that everybody has the chance to do what he or she thinks would suit the brand, even if there is not a briefing there. And together with R&D, we work very closely to make sure that we create new things.
By now, you must have had some kind of a formula for your success, right?
Formula, yeah. Well, actually, for Silhouette, it's we have our design guidelines, and we say that we definitely make more minimalistic and reduced designs that can last long. And I think that's also one of the major successes, because also our ECPs really work then with styles that can stand the time, and minimalism is always is on trend somehow. Yeah, it's one path of the fashion. Very minimalistic, timeless styles, and this is exactly where we have our expertise to play around with these little details, and every tenth of a millimeter counts. Then, yeah.
Is there a collection that you created that you could name as your favorite, and if so, which one and why?
Actually, one of my last favorites is definitely the Titan X shades. It's a sun collection where we have developed the idea of our accent rings into the next generation. We started with SPX rings, so they're out of plastic. But now in the sun, we were able to achieve by a new milling technology, and exactly the technology behind that, we can clip over really titanium rings there. And for me, it's really a nice example how rimless can look in a different and new way. So this was really a nice hybrid between the rimless and the full rim world.
And tell us about your new collection, the Venture collection.
The Venture collection.
Yeah.
The Venture collection is a collection in our elegance segment. So now we bring to the market our second iteration of the Venture. So the first one was with tiny carbon inlays, so more on the sporty side. But the overall temple design itself is a very classic, modern driven design. And we came up with the idea that we looked at precious firelighters and fountain pens, where you find this kind of engravings. And this was our starting point, that we say, well, this temple really, we can bring it from the sportiness into more elegant luxury world by adding this milling structure, this gouache method that we use there. And I think it's now really a very masculine design on the one hand, but also with a certain kind of really elegance and this luxury feeling. Yeah.
That's the brioche pattern at the temples. That's what you're talking about?
Yes, correct. I mean, I don't know if you see it really here. I have it here also. This kind of it's. You won't see it too
what
much.
was that inspiration from? Where did you derive the inspiration from for that one?
Yeah, actually, when you look at exclusive lighters, those coupon lighters, for example, or fountain pens, when it comes to pens, you have this really nice, or Mont Blanc, you have this really nice chiseling on the side, and this is where the inspiration came from.
And was it difficult to add that feature? Was it a challenge?
Actually, of course, we did a lot of experiments with our R&D and with our workshop, so that we made sure with the CNC milling technology really could exactly make the right depth and the right angle of the cuttings, so that it really looks really nice if you turn it, so that you have a nice play of color and shadow of light.
And how did it feel to be chosen to design a line extension of a collection that was already very successful? Was it challenging that way?
If you already have a successor, of course, it's very challenging to say, well, what could be the next step? And I think we did a really good job there to make it from the one side on the sporty idea to a more classic appearance. And but definitely, I think it's not the end for this kind of temple, because the temple is so universal that you could apply all different kind of engravings and different technologies. And we're already working on new things and ideas to use and produce for the next upcoming years.
So what are the elements that differentiate between the two, the new venture and the earlier one? Is this the only element, or are there other elements as well?
Actually, the main element is really that we changed the carbon fiber inlays to this milled pattern. But what we also did there, that we have two-tone colors. So it means we have, for example, the outside is gold and the inlay is then silver. So there, what we did beforehand with the carbon, it's black, always black, and then we have different colors of the temple. But here, this is also an extra surface treatment that we use there, so it even gets kind of more richness, I would say. Yeah.
And whom is the venture collection targeted at?
Actually, it's for the modern man who wants a clean design, but also with this kind of exclusive look that he knows from lighters, also from watches, where you also find this kind of nice milling details. And I think it's really this balance between this, where modern design comes in with some kind of classical twist, I would say. And also when it comes to the shapes, of course, you are free to choose the lens shapes, but also the lens shape that we have chosen for our collection are really more edgier shaped ones. So classical male driven with some edges to underline this masculinity. Yeah.
It's a successful collection. The current collection how has it been received?
Yes, definitely. The old venture already was well received, and I suppose that also the new one will definitely find its buyers. Yeah.
What's your rate of success?
For me personally, it's more important that the frames are sold well. I mean, it's nice to get awards, yes, but the best thing for a designer, to be honest, is really to see as many people wearing his or her frame. So, because then you say, okay, that's very nice. Nice. That's mine. Great choice.
Can you mention? Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Roland. It was a pleasure having you with us. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, I think it's short, sweet.
Good.
Yes, I think
so. Best wishes to all your readers, and yeah, I hope they enjoy our silhouettes like we do. Yeah.
Thank you.